Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be talking about Bleach Rebirth of Souls. I wanted to do a conversational video on just the game, man. Some of the different things that we've seen recently. I did a video probably when the game first got announced on some things that I was like really excited for, some things I wanted to see. And now that we've had pretty much confirmation on a ton of different stuff, I think it's a perfect time to talk about some of the pros, some of the things I'm worried about. So let's go ahead and start with it. So the first pro anyway that I got is just the gameplay, the mechanics. So this is something that I talked about at the very beginning. I thought it was very cool that the uniqueness of each individual character was super cool. Like, they just have characters that are doing different things all the different times, and it's just unique to see how many different ways that a character could be played, all the mechanics. There are definitely some characters I'm like, damn, that looks like it's going to be a ton of fun, and then there's some characters I'm like, damn, that's going to be not very fun to go against. So it just definitely depends on when we jump into it and see what's going on. But I thought the roster itself was actually going to be pretty limited, but it seems like they're kind of fleshing it out more and more than I ever expected, dude. I thought there's only going to be like 15-20 characters, and they're passing like almost 30, it seems like. And now I actually think that they're going to start releasing character updates and trailers a little bit quicker. I think we might even get ones that are like 2 a week instead of the 1 a week we're usually getting, or maybe they just kind of continue off. But we'll probably expect at least like 2 or 3 more characters, if anything like that. And I think it's just insane to see how many different mechanics all these characters have, and just kind of how big the roster is in comparison to how unique each character is. I think that's pretty cool to just see how it kind of expands. And obviously we'll have DLC to expand that as well. So it's just like, damn, dude, I can't wait to jump in there and actually see how these, characters fight and all the different mechanics, and get really pissed at the mechanics that I can't figure out real quick and somebody's beating my ass with. It seems like a lot of fun, which brings me to my next point, which is training, dude. This is super cool that we have training. We have some different stuff with CPUs, and I think the offline mode seems pretty stacked. I think there's a lot of cool things where you're able to go in there and train and actually get some input stuff. You could set the bot up to do certain things that are like, maybe you're struggling with certain defensive stuff, offensive stuff, whatever you're struggling with, you can make the bot replicate that and then go in. Then they have trials, so you can jump in there, maybe try out a different character and not have to be super punished online if you don't like to do that. I just think it's kind of unique to see how many different ways we're able to jump in and play against the CPU, because I know a lot of people like doing that. So believe it or not everybody wants to play versus. A lot of people like jumping in with the CPU that's a little bit harder, man. I hope the difficulty on them are harder. That would be one of the things that I think would be kind of a, I don't know, kind of not as fun. Like if you have trials, but all the CPU stuff is super easy, then it's not going to be a ton of fun. Because I'm like, if you have a difficulty level 3, trial, then you're like, well, it's not really that hard. Then I don't know how many people are really ever going to replay it. But I would like to see how interesting it is for the difficulty on that and go from there. Now, one of the cons I have is actually going to be the crossplay stuff. So this is kind of twofold. So I think about it in one way where it's like, it kind of sucks to have to buy it on a certain system, and then maybe it's not as popular on that system, or maybe you got friends on a different system and you're like, well, damn, do I have to buy it on 2 different systems just to play with my homies, or do I have to kind of just sit here and sit by myself? Because I'll be playing on Steam, and so as a content creator, I have to kind of think a little bit. If I ever want to do community stuff, usually the consoles are more prevalent with the community and online stuff. So it's like, do I double buy the game or do I just buy it on Steam and then just kind of go from there? So I mean, initially I'm going to buy it on Steam just because I would like to have the processing power and stuff that my PC has that maybe a PlayStation 5 wouldn't. But I just want to kind of, I don't know, sometimes I get a little annoyed by that. But at the same time, if it was one of those choices where it's like, do they make a really good game with all this uniqueness and all this different stuff, or they kind of hinder it by having crossplay? Because crossplay can be kind of a hindrance in some ways, because you have to kind of take in consideration of the older consoles and how they're going to jive with like a PC or a PlayStation 5 or the new Xboxes and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, I imagine PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 will be on their own thing. So you have a little bit of crossplay there. Maybe the consoles will even, I'm not really sure. But the fact of the matter is, typically PC and consoles don't cross over. So they have their own separate stuff. PC has mods, all this different stuff. So most of the time people don't like playing with PC people because it's easier to hack, all that different stuff. But it's one of those things where it could be kind of a double-edged sword, because it's like you add it into the game, but it's like, what would you have sacrificed to add it into the game? So I could see a lot of people being kind of upset about it, but personally, I think it's one of those things where it's like, it sucks. It definitely sucks. But if they had to choose between that and like uniqueness of the game or polishing of the game, then I'll definitely take this version of the game without it. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about was the story. So I know a lot of people are kind of on the fence about this. So personally, with some of the different updates on like the side story, secret stories and stuff like that, and having their own version of some different outcomes and stuff like that, I think that's pretty dope. I think the story is going to be pretty fleshed out. I think there's a lot of cool things of it. Now, do the models look a little janky sometimes? Yeah, I mean, they don't necessarily look like super next gen and stuff like that, but I think if they could do a decent retelling of Bleach, I think it's a really cool place to start, because we just don't have a lot of games that recover Bleach and go over the Bleach story like Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball gets shit all the time that's going over Dragon Ball. Everybody knows Dragon Ball, and it's like, this is a cool introduction to be able to kind of introduce people to Bleach, or kind of re-up somebody who maybe didn't watch it since high school or something like that, and they're like, damn, I forgot how cool this was. And I think it's a really cool way to be able to kind of introduce people into that, and then have some of the different stuff that you can look forward to if you are experienced with Bleach, like the secret stories, the side stories, stuff that we didn't get in the anime and the manga that's kind of unique to the game. I think it's really cool to be able to see that the story is actually thought of. Dude, I feel like they put a lot of effort into it, and you could definitely tell the love and care of just the damn story, dude. So far, what it seems like, they're putting a lot of effort into the videos, the live streams for it, and I could tell that they really crafted something that's unique and special, and I cannot wait to be able to check it out, because I'm going to be playing the entire thing on, you know, the YouTube here. We'll post it up, and then obviously if nobody wants spoilers, or maybe you're not interested in it, great, we'll have the gameplay and the verses and all that stuff as well. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is just like the love and affection going into like the graphics, the OSTs. You could definitely tell that these guys are giving a shit about this when it comes to like the marketing, the OSTs, the gameplay designs, the wallpapers. Like, they're definitely doing a lot of great things with the design of Bleach, dude. Well, that was one of my favorite things of Bleach. It was so unique when it first came out, was just the OSTs. It has some of the best music, in my opinion, and just some of the best like artwork, dude. You ever watch some of the like the manga stuff, or like you can kind of see some of the covers for that shit? Ichigo was pimped out like all the time. I really hope they're able to add some of that stuff, because that would be kind of like a con. It does definitely seems like there's not enough costumes in the game thus far. There's been a little bit of previews on what some of the costumes are going to look like, but a lot of them are recolors, which I guess is not that big of a deal, honestly, if you're looking at it from the gameplay uniqueness style of it. But I do like having costumes. I think they're kind of fun. It's a little bit of a way to customize yourself and go in there and look a little bit different than somebody else. And I think it's kind of unique if they do it the right way. You don't want to go in there and have like just a ton of options for like literally no reason if it's going to hinder something else in the game. So obviously there's a striking balance, and I hope that they're able to offer a little bit of that. It does seem so, because they have the pre-order bonuses and all that different stuff that give you a little bit more costumes. So obviously they could just put DLCs that have like potential costumes and stuff like that and kind of slowly add stuff. So I definitely don't see that door being closed just when the game releases. If they do have limited options, you could definitely see it being a potential stuff in DLC. Overall, I think Bleach Rebirth of Souls is going to be a very unique and interesting game with all the mechanics that it has. Also, just like the gameplay stuff, all the different things with your health bar and the different moves, and defensively and offensively, and just the way it's being structured. I really do think that this is going to be a fun arena fighter. Now, I don't know how long it's going to last. Obviously, it's just one of those things where arena fighters kind of come out, and sometimes they do really well and sometimes they don't. You know, it just kind of depends what happens with post-launch and marketing and all that different stuff. But I honestly think that the game has potential to be something, as long as the community backs it up. But that has to be a good product, right? You don't want to just go in there and back it up as a community if it's not good. So obviously we'll have to see what happens when the game comes out itself. But I honestly think it has potential to be something else if it's done right, if it does be receptive to the community, if it does do feedback, you know, just different things. We have to have communication from the devs and just go from there. I mean, basically, I think it's going to be a potential, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there. But anyway, guys, if you agree with anything, disagree with anything, let me know in the comments. Be nice, though. Hopefully, you know, whatever. But I'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.